My name is Birhen de Manaoag. I have been a sister for 12 years. I professed my perpetual vows 3 years ago. And I can say that really I have never regretted that I became a sister. Because actually all my life I prepared to be a classical musician. I started playing the violin when I was 6 years old. No? And initially I wanted to perform, and then I wanted to teach, and I wanted this and that, and I ended up wanting to be a classical conductor. When I was young, I never really had any desire to be a sister. Everything was just about music. Something that was very, very important in the journey in my vocation was something that people could consider a failure. Because when I was in college, I was studying violin. I had a musician's injury. Now, I hurt my neck. I have some nerve problem, and so I couldn't play. I couldn't even raise my arms. And that was terrible because that was my whole life, to play the violin, to be a musician. So that moment, this situation made me begin to think, like, what really am I supposed to do, with myself? Am I really called, or was I really meant to be a musician? So that started, But really it was very providential that I had this injury, because then I had to take less classes because I couldn't play. I couldn't play so much. And so I had time to join this pro-life group of students at my university, which was really a beautiful apostolate, because we would go every Saturday to pray in front of abortion clinics and offer the women other help. And in this group, I had many friends who were really wonderful youth. They had a lot of principles. They were discerning whether they should get married or enter the seminary or the convent. And so I began, because of that group, to think about what God would want me to do. And it was very funny because of this group, one feast of St. Joseph, March 19, 2005, one of my friends in this group invited me to come to the feast of the servants of the Lord. St. Joseph is our founding day. I found out that later on. And so I was not the kind of person to go to parties or celebrations or meet new people. And so my friend said, no, but you should go. You will like them. So I went to that feast, and I remember very clearly that the liturgy of the Mass was very beautiful. The choir was excellent. And then afterwards, as usual, we have the feast. And the sisters sat and talked to the people and sang songs and were very joyful. So for me, that was very attractive. But I still continued with my life as a musician, little by little, trying to recover my ability to play. At the same time, I started to volunteer at a pro-life center that our sisters worked at. And for me, that was very amazing, because the sisters could keep their joy and their peace despite this being a very difficult apostolate, because this pro-life office was next to an abortion clinic. So women would be passing by our clinic on their way to commit a horrible sin. And so the sisters would pray and try to talk to them. And I was very impressed by the life of these sisters, and by their joy. So fast forward, I still continued with my musician life. And I graduated, and I came back to the Philippines, and I started my musical career. I had a lot of students. I was conducting a small children's orchestra. I had many things, and everything was going very well outside, but something wasn't right. Like, I wasn't doing anything wrong, but I felt like I was not in the right place, or I was not doing what I was supposed to do. And that was very hard, because there was like a contradiction. 2007, I decided that I have to stop. I have to be honest with myself and stop lying to myself and see what does God want. So I did a come and see with our sisters in Taiwan, and there I was given the opportunity to do this Ignatian spiritual exercises. And this was very interesting because one sister, a very wise sister, advised me based on her own experience. She said that when she did her retreat to know her vocation, she asked God, please don't let me leave without knowing what I'm supposed to do in my life. So I said, okay, I will try this. So in the retreat, I did the same thing. So I said, God, please don't let me leave without knowing what I should do with my life. And that moment, where there was one meditation that for me, it was very, very clear. Christ died for me on the cross and gave me everything. Even if I tried or did everything I could never repay him for that. This was very impressive. And I thought the only way that I can repay him is to be a sister. And I thought, well, I am a musician and musicians do crazy things, so I will do this crazy thing and I will become a sister. So I made all the arrangements. I quit my jobs and I said goodbye to my family and my friends. And so I entered the convent on July 18, 2007. So what I would say to anybody thinking about their vocation is another bit of advice that a very wise sister told me, which is you have to be generous. The generosity is very important. Especially if you find that God is asking for more than you thought originally. So we need to have this generous disposition, and this desire to really seek what God wants, because God doesn't disappoint. God will fulfill more than all our expectations, as long as we try to do His will. And for me, when I found out that my vocation was to be a sister, it was really, I knew that it was what I was made for. And I knew that this is what God planned for me, and that all my life makes sense in light of this. So sometimes it just takes some honesty, generosity, and the openness to do what is the will of God. And God will provide. God will definitely provide for everything that we need, because He is enough for us.